Hey, this is Kirk.
And this is Byrd.
This is the Kirk and Byrd Show. This is our podcast for the world, mainly state of Virginia, Mid-Atlantic, East Coast. We're two guys from the same hometown, Hampton, Virginia. We're from the Commonwealth of Virginia. We grew up down there. We both went to school. We've been in Northern Virginia, Rusty and I, for 30 years. Rusty, what do we got on tap? What are we going to talk about? I can't wait to talk about this.
Okay, we're going to give our best sports cities. We can do it a number of ways. We can say, we can reference a list and say how good or bad it is, or just give our personal, top 5 or top 10, and go whichever way you want to take it. There are. Can I just reference Forbes list just to give you an idea of what some
you can reference it, but
other journalists are thinking.
Terrible.
Yeah, these lists suck, to be honest. But I just wanted to put it out there.
I got a USA Today list. There's a Real Estate Today list also.
Yeah, I saw the Real Estate Today list.
Did Forbes have New York number 12?
No, I think. Wait a minute, Forbes. You know what? I think you're right.
This is top 10.
Well, there were 11. New York. Number 12 was DC.
Right.
Yeah.
That is crazy. But
no, is it? All right. So let's get this going.
Let's do this. Let's both go. Age before beauty, because you're older than me, and I'm obviously better looking. You go first with your number one. Who's your number one best sports city in the United States besides Hampton?
Right, absolutely. So let me ask you this though: what is the criteria we're using? Are we talking
criteria?
No, okay, all right. So it doesn't necessarily have to be high school. I mean, it doesn't have to be professional. Could it be a Tuscaloosa?
No. It's got to be a market. It's
a market. Okay.
Pro sports, maybe college, but pro sports. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Who do you like?
I think, one of the best overall sports towns would be
one of or the best? You have a clear-cut leader? Don't worry, Mr. Byrd. That pollen is bothering everybody. We don't have the silent mic like everybody else has. So let's switch over. So, Mr. Byrd, I'm going to go with one that I feel strongly about. And it's a city that I've traveled to a lot. And it's not one of the big 5 markets. That is our neighbors, about 2 hours, 40 minutes. Philadelphia, to me, is the best sports town. They love the Eagles. They love the Phillies. It doesn't matter if they're struggling. They love the Sixers. They love the Flyers. You got the big 5. You got Temple. You got St. Joe's. You got Drexel. You've got all those schools up there, it's a big college town, and they go nuts when they win a Super Bowl. I would say it's an Eagles town. They love the Eagles. It's 1.6 million people. So I think it's the 7th largest city. That's my number one. I realize there's others, that probably think, it's New York, Chicago. What are your thoughts on your number one? You're muted.
So when I think of best sports town, I want to throw in things like championships, fan loyalty. I want to think about the spread that goes beyond that city. So what I mean by it's a great sports town, but they also have a national reach. And so to me, I'm going to stay in the state of Pennsylvania, and I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh, if
they love
They're Steelers and they're Penguins. And, you know, there's a point where the Penguins used to piss me off because they would always beat the Capitals. You know, they have, and those Pirates haven't had the success, but those people support the team. They love the team. You know, they don't have a major level or league basketball program there.
Never understood that.
Yeah, I know. But I think Pittsburgh, that working class group of people, and it spreads. I'm saying Pittsburgh, but it's that whole Western PA area. I think I'm going to give Pittsburgh the nod as the number one sports area.
All right.
And you throw in Pitt, who they haven't had the same success recently, but you go back to those Pitt basketball programs that were great. The football with Tony Dorsett winning national championship, Dan Marino, consistently really good players coming out of Pitt in football. You know that we kind of sleep on. But so I'm gonna go Pittsburgh.
Okay. So we both went with two cities that none of the magazines have. So let's go to number two. Now, based on your criteria, I think this would be the number one city, based on what you talked about. So I'm going with Boston. They're crazy about the Big Four. This is a Red Sox town. New England, with all those championships, New England's number one. It's a big baseball town. I mean, you talk to people up there, they know baseball like nobody's business. The Celtics, look at all the championships. It's been a while since they won one, but it's still the Celtics. They love the Bruins. It's not a big college basketball town, but for the Big Four, you know, it's a huge market. I got to go with Boston as the second best sports town in the United States. So, Hudson, Hawk, Rusty, Byrd, what is your second?
Okay. So my number two, so let me just say this. When you talk about Boston, those fans are like, they love their team. They're very rabid about their sports. But you know what's going to block some of my some of the teams that maybe traditionally have gotten that love is, to me, is if I just don't like that town, I can't put it in my top 5 or 10. I hate the Boston. I don't like the Boston area. I don't like the Boston fan. Yeah, they're loyal and loving fans, but so you know what? That was such a loser town for years, bro. We grew up with New England stinking. Now the kids today would have no idea. But like the Patriots were just, they had those horrible uniforms with the guys snapping the ball. You know, they made some Super Bowls against the Bears and got crushed. I hated the Celtics. The Red Sox, they were so like they hadn't won the World Series in so many years. And so, you know, I hate Boston fans. I hate those teams.
Patsy Cline from Woodbridge, or from Winchester, said crazy. She was talking about you, man. Come on.
No, I hate them. I hate the Boston fan teams, especially now because they actually have had success with 7 Super Bowls. I mean, with 6 Super Bowls. I'm sorry, Tom. 6 Super Bowls, and then they had the great Celtics teams, and even the Bruins, yeah, and the Red Sox. Like they crushed that curse. So yeah, I hate Boston.
All right. So who's your number 2? Hudson, Hawk, Byrd. My man Rusty, my wingman.
Number 2,
yeah,
for me is Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Yes.
Wow.
Again, I'm going with another team that
City
does not have professional basketball at that level.
New York City for barbecue.
But Kansas City, man, those are some loyal fans. You know, when they don't have good years, those fans are still coming out supporting those Chiefs. They love their Royals. The Royals won a Super Bowl with a low budget, you know, a few years ago. And they love their pro sports. You know, you're not going to think about them. necessarily because they're not, on the radar in terms of big metro area. There's no controversial players that really play on any of those teams. So I'm going to go right now with KC being my number 2. And and so what are you going with number 2?
No, my number 2 is Boston.
Number 2. Yeah, that's right. That was your horrible number 2.
You are straight tripping, boo. Arthur in that vacation movie with Queen Latifah. All right, let's go to number 3. You ready?
Yep, number 3.
All right, number 3 is me. It's my turn. Come on.
Go ahead.
Got to go with Chicago, your Bears team. Chicago, 2 baseball teams. South side, you go for the White Sox. North side, you go for the Cubs. You got the Bears. The Bears are the Bears. They're incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Blackhawks, huge. Bulls, huge. Chicago, passionate fans, loyal fans. You're not going to go to a Chicago Bears team and have 20,000 Dallas Cowboys fans there. Those type of things. Chicago is a great, great sports town. That's my number 3. The way you're going to put Orlando number 4.
No, the way you're going, you're going to put Miami and Atlanta up there. Look, I saw one of these lists, and I couldn't believe. I just got to point out that Forbes had the nerve. Was it Forbes? Let me see. They put actually Los Angeles. Somebody put Los Angeles in their top group, and that, a team, a city that couldn't have an NFL team for 20-some years. There's no way they should ever be up there. But I'll tell you, my number 3. I was feeling you with Chicago, and that really is my number 3 as well, for all the reasons you just mentioned. 2 baseball programs, and then the Cubs, they finally won. The White Sox have had some, good teams over the years. They won with, it's been a while now, but they've won. The history. Yeah, the history in that town.
Cubbies.
Yep. The Blackhawks have won a number of championships, and they were, really good in the early 2000s. Yeah.
Bucket. We could just go on with Chicago Bears greats, and then Michael Jordan and the Bulls got 6 championships. It's a big college football town. Notre Dame is not far from there. Illinois is working its way back up. That's where Dick Butkus went.
Northwestern is plays.
Northwestern's playing well, and also a huge Chicagoland. A huge high school sports mecca. You're talking basketball. I mean, the city of Chicago, Kevin Garnett went from South Carolina to Farragut. You've got Martin Luther King that had back in the movie Hoop Dreams, which is a guy from Hampton.
Arthur Agee,
Yeah, Arthur Agee. That was St. Joseph's, which was basically in Oak Brook Terrace, which is where McDonald's is headquartered. But you're talking about Martin Luther King, Simeon. Simeon is where Derrick Rose went. And
Isaiah Thomas was St. Joe's, too.
Isaiah Thomas was St. Joe's, absolutely. And great, great, great tradition there. All right. So we're at number 4, correct?
Yep.
All right. Start spreading the news. Got to be New York, man. They love sports. No, hold on. First of all, in 35 years, every single team in New York has won a championship, I believe.
35 years? Oh, yeah. My gosh. So what? I mean, 35 years.
None of the others in 30. No. I think it's 20.
If you want to go 35 years, the DC area would be up there with the Bullets winning, so 30, 40.
We're getting off subject because the Redskins, this is a Redskins town. DC is not a sports town. But let's go back to New York. First of all, it's got 8.8 million. It's the largest city in the United States. Metro is 25 million. But Florida is New York South because everybody, New York City Florida is New York South, New York Yankees training complex. So the Knicks are huge.
No. But that's where you're going wrong, Kirk. Let me tell you, the Knicks, those fans are irrational. They haven't won anything. Look, their last good teams were 20 years ago with Patrick Ewing. Like, they stink in basketball. They oh my gosh, please don't say New York. They only have the Yankees, and the Yankees cheap because they just, outpaid everybody, outspent everyone. I actually like the Mets, but the football team, the Giants, have won, a number of Super Bowls, but the Jets suck. Yeah.
Rangers.
Okay. Rangers. Okay, look, you got a lot of people, so a lot of people like them. New York people are just, brazen and loud, so you think they're good sports fans. Yeah, they love their teams. You know what? Let me just say it. I look at New York sports fans like I look at, especially Knicks fans, like I look at Dallas Cowboy fans. They're just not rational. They don't see it. They don't get it. So look, but I see in doing a list, I see where you could come up with that amateur opinion, Kirk.
Okay.
So
that's fine. Yeah. So this amateur will cede to the old man, Hudson Hawk. Who's your number 4?
My number 4, I'm going to go with your number 1. I'm going to go Philly. I don't think I need to say much more. I agree. Philly, I think the only reason they're dropped in my list is because they are passionate, but sometimes to the detriment. They're booing Santa Claus. I think Ben Simmons is so weak and fragile-minded because his fans are just relentless. And so sometimes I think that's to the detriment of your own organization and team to be so hard because everybody can't take it. So that's why I had to drop them. They are passionate, though. They're passionate, but sometimes you got to know how to channel that passion. I'll say it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So let's keep track of this. We're both at number 4. You like Philadelphia. Let's go to number 5. You ready?
Yep. You'll get this one on too.
I don't think I will.
Go ahead.
I'll go with Pittsburgh.
Oh, no, you're right. You didn't get that wrong. Like I said, I had them a little higher, but you can't be wrong.
Listen, the city of Pittsburgh.
You got Pittsburgh under New York.
What do you mean? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you got 50 million Yankees fans,
it's just numbers. It's not quality.
I know, but here's the thing. When you think of Pittsburgh, I've often said this. You know what? Just here in Loudoun County, like the teachers and principals at my kids' schools, you would think Pittsburgh has a metro area of 7, 8, 9 million, which they don't. So the Steelers have fans everywhere. The Steelers are always good. They know how to run an organization. The Pirates, unfortunately, no salary cap has caught up with them. Do you remember in 91 when they had Van Slyke, Bonilla, and Barry Bonds? I mean, some great players. We Are Family, 1979. The Penguins had the great Mario.
Yeah.
They're still very good in hockey, and they love their teams. That's also a good college sports town. Pittsburgh Panthers, both in football and basketball, can get back on top. High school, unbelievable. Unbelievable. You talk about the players that come out of there, you talk all day long. And by the way, basketball players, there's some very, very good basketball players from the Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania area. So Pittsburgh is my number 5. What say you, Mr. Big Bethel Road?
All right. My number 5 is because I have a number of friends and associates from this area. I know they love their teams and they're passionate. Teams haven't had the same level of success, but despite the how down that city and metro area are, they love their teams. So I got to get a number of friends from this area. For me, I'm on 5, right? I'm going to go with Detroit. Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say Washington, D.C.
No, we're too transit.
That's very respectable. Now,
but despite the Lions and what they've done, those fans are loyal. They love them. Hey, the Red Wings, quality hockey, number of championship, Hockey Town USA. When those Pistons are good, those fans, they love their Pistons. And remember now, when we talk about passion, I don't know if it's Chandler Roberts, right? The Malice in the Palace were Detroit Piston fans, right?
That's a great city. It's coming back. Rusty, at one time, that was the fourth largest city in the United States because of
the auto industry.
Yeah. But it's also, it's a great town for college sports because Ann Arbor is about 50 miles outside of it. Michigan State's a little further, but they're both pretty close. That's respectable. So, all right, that was your number 5, correct?
Yep.
And Pittsburgh was my number 5. All right. Now, my number 6, I had to think about because I often bust on this city, and you've already done it. But my good friend, Patrick Coleman, Phoebus High School in 1987, the first year we beat you guys. He lives out there. This is a tie because I'm going to give you an intro into my next team. I'm actually going to go with LA. And here's why.
What?
Yeah. The Lakers, that is a Laker town. Lakers and Dodgers. The Dodgers are huge out there. You got UCLA, you got USC. The Kings aren't big. It's not like an East Coast market, but you would be surprised at the Dodgers and the Lakers.
No, I know, but they're also California fickle people. They're all fake. You know what they are? It's just like Miami. When the teams are good, the fans are there. When they're not, you know where they are? They're at the beach. They're at the beach in LA and Miami. You know what? Why am I going to? They're not going to support those teams if they're not doing anything. They didn't have football teams for years. For years. Did you see the UCLA game, the first game of the year in college football 3 weeks ago? When they beat, was it LSU? Who did they play in that first game? Whoever it was, it was an empty stadium. They played in the Coliseum and nobody was there. But that's LA for you. You know why? Because nobody thought they'd be good.
All right.
And that's that town.
So
that's LA.
We're at number 5.
No, we're at number 6.
I'm sorry. We're at number 6. It's getting late. All right. Who's your number 6?
Okay. My number 6 is because of one team and the impact it's had on the nation, and everybody loves this particular team, and they're fickle with their other sports there, I'm going to go, my number 6 is Dallas. It's one. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. And I say that, it's going to be hard for me to root for teams like Boston because I don't like Boston.
No, it's not a terrible pick.
But the Dallas area, Dallas, the Mavericks have won a championship in the last 10 years. You've got, the Rangers, Dallas. You got their house. Yeah. So, Dallas, those people love football. And so you can then, when you talk about the high school football, you got college football, you got SMU, those people love their teams.
We both did 6, right?
Yep.
Okay. So for you guys listening, Rusty and I don't do this for a living. It's 12:20 on the 24th. So we're going to go to the 7th. Now, I think we might agree on this one, Mr. Byrd. And by the way, I had to read some of the stuff that you and I both talked about, Forbes, real estate, and all that. Mm-hmm. I think, and by the way, Dallas is up there for me. I think I'm going to go to the West Coast again, San Francisco. Now, before you say anything, the Giants in baseball, huge following. Mm-hmm. You got the Oakland A's, huge following.
Yeah.
You've got the San Francisco 49ers. All right. The Raiders are in Las Vegas now. But you've also got the Golden State Warriors,
the Sharks.
you've got the Sharks in San Jose, and it's just it's a huge metro area, and the San Francisco fan base is crazy. I'm not real big on West Coast markets, but I'm going to go with them. Now, what say you?
Number 7, I'm going to pick one of your top. I'm going to go. I'm going to concede and say Boston can be number 7. Yeah, I mean,
oh my goodness,
yeah, Boston 7.
Boston at 7?
Yeah, at 7. Yep.
7.
Yep. And
Really?
if you say one more thing else about it, I'm gonna drop it. Maybe even a little
All
more.
right, so we're going
8.
to 8. But this gets interesting because 8 for me is I'm talking about some markets you've already talked about. And I'm going to go because there's been a decline lately in Detroit. I'm going to go with Dallas. Dallas has got the Cowboys, and that's a Cowboys town. That's a Cowboys town. Now you got Mark Cuban, who started broadcast.com and made, a couple $1 billion, and he's parlayed that into owning the Mavericks. The Mavericks are good. The Stars are good. They've got the Rangers. And also, Dallas is a hub for high school sports as well as college sports. It's the Texas headquarters. It's not Houston, by the way. Houston is I think, the 4th largest city in the United States. We won't get into
market. Yeah, that market.
Right.
Yeah.
But I like Dallas. So, what say you?
This is number 8, right?
Yep.
My number 8 is Houston. I think Houston. It's a big market. When they lost the Oilers, but those folks love football. They want the Texans to do well. The Rockets have had some success. Winning championships in the '80s, and being very respectable recently. The Astros. They've had some really good teams. So I'm putting Houston at number 8, but there were a few other cities I thought could challenge them, but I'll put them at 8.
Yeah. So we're at 9.
Yep.
Well, this is kind of becoming conciliatory. I haven't named Detroit, or have it? No, I haven't named Detroit.
Big college words like conciliatory. Like, what does that mean?
It's like a consolation prize.
Yeah, but you wouldn't.
I probably got it wrong.
Nobody from VCU would use that word ever in real life. We'd write it in a paper that we plagiarized, but we wouldn't write. We wouldn't say it. We wouldn't say it in a podcast.
Institution, man. So Detroit, honestly, I can't believe I'm naming them this low. They just got such a great. The Pistons, the Lions, even though they support that team, even though they haven't been good in a while. The Red Wings are huge. The Tigers, have had some success. You're talking Whitaker Trammell. You're talking some great baseball players out of Detroit. So I would go with them. And then what would you say? I mean, your next team, because we're starting to really get down in the markets now.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with our hometown club, team, cities, the DC metro area. Like, it's funny, this is the DC area, but until recently, only, it's not recent now. The Wizards do finally play in DC. But I remember it was a time when nobody was actually in DC. It was at the Capitol Center and different things. But I'll say this: look, I'm just going to name some things, and you tell me I'm not on it. So listen to this: we've got the Washington football team, and these fans here. Now this is a
Redskin town.
It is a transient area, but the fans that are here do now. A lot of it is waned because of how poor they are. But I remember when I moved to the DC area in the early 90s, one of the things everyone said was, you can't get tickets to the Redskins. It's a 20-year wait. Now they barely can give them away. But the Redskins...
on Monday night against the Cowboys and get tickets for $40, $50.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that foundation base, those Redskin fans will love that team, especially when they get back to winning. All right, so I'm going to say that. But then these are the reasons that they really are a legit sports town. So look, the Wizards haven't done anything, but the Bullets did win a championship. So you're talking about, we're one of the few cities. Yeah, you're one of the towns that has won at every level. So let me go. The Capitals recently won a Stanley Cup after being really good for a long time. You've got our Washington Mystics as the WNBA champions from 3 years ago.
Right.
You've got our MLS team, the DC United, when that league started 25 years ago, and we're getting Freddie Adu's, like Bruce Arena won us a couple of championships in the MLS. We haven't done much lately, but look, we were winning championships playing that old, RFK. We have a beautiful arena for soccer now, the Audi Stadium.
I was there a couple weeks ago.
Downtown DC. It is lovely. That's where we even had what was the team that Vincent, wasn't the XFL, that was was it XFL, right? It came back, the XFL.
I don't remember, arena maybe.
No, we've had a winning team. But remember, it was only out like 3 years, then COVID hit, the whole league crashed. Yeah, the XFL, Vince McMahon brought the XFL back, and we had a team right here in DC, and they played at the Audi Arena. I think only 3 or 4 games were played in the league, and it folded because of COVID. But you got that. So we even had USFL had the Washington Federals. Craig, what's his name? Golly, he played for them. From SMU. Yeah, early 80s. Hey, hold on, I'm not done. We've got our national. Did I say the Nationals won a championship?
Yep.
And so we've got every major sport here, and everyone has won a championship. So you got to give Washington some love. I live here. Georgetown basketball, when it's good, people love it. Okay, and a lot of people outside of this area don't know the University of Maryland is definitely a DC area team. When they won. When
you and I moved here in 91, you already said something. What was the toughest ticket to get in sports in the DC metro area in 1991?
It was the Redskins.
Nope.
What
they
was
did statistics on it. It was the Terps basketball.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's when Gary Williams took over. I went in 92. No, it was 93 to watch North Carolina play Maryland at Cole Fieldhouse. North Carolina was number 1. Maryland had Joe Smith, Johnny Rhodes, X-Ray Hip, and Carolina was loaded Stackhouse, Donald Williams, the kid from Rasheed Wallace,
yeah.
And they beat them. And we walked up and we got a ticket about 10 minutes before it opened for $100. I'm wondering what it is now. But yeah, this is a good college sports team.
Georgetown, definitely in the 80s, but even in the early 90s with Allen Iverson, like they would pack the Capitol Center. Like I went to a Georgetown Syracuse game. I went to a Georgetown UConn game with Ray Allen, Allen Iverson. Those were some rabid, crazy fans. And look, to this day, they don't need to be in this arena, but Georgetown plays still in what is it called now? I don't know if it's the Verizon Center anymore. They keep
it's Capital One.
Capital One, yeah. So you got it when you weigh all of those things. Like you got to say, give DC our props.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's home to great high school basketball.
That's true. So why don't we close out with some honorable mentions, because our list is getting long, and I'll go with 2. Let me give you 2. Let's give each other 2. Sound good?
Yep.
I'm going to go with a couple cities, and that is Miami, the Dolphins, the Heat, even being a new team, has a good tradition. The
Marlins have won 2 World Series.
What's that?
The Marlins have won 2 World Series. Yeah.
The hockey team. they're
The Panthers. The Panthers, yeah.
They're very underrated. And then my second one is, I believe, a really good sports town, and that is Minneapolis St Paul. You got the Vikings, long tradition. Now, I was talking about this today. The Timberwolves has not been good in a while. And then their hockey team, the Stars, left, and they have the Wild now. And then the Twins used to be,
Kirby Puckett,
all those guys, So those are my two honorable mentions.
Okay. Well, my honorable mentions, I'll go ahead and hit you with them, are New York.
New York?
Yeah.
You haven't included them yet?
I don't think so. I think you didn't let me say my number 10, and they were going to be my number 10. So honorable mentions go to New York, but then the other team I actually would like to put over them, it's just oh my gosh, their second team, athletic team just stinks so bad now. But Baltimore, those Ravens fans.
I like that.
And look, those Oriole fans are still loyal despite these last 20 years of being just horrible. And you know why? Don't feel sorry for. Look, I grew up. My favorite team was the Baltimore. My favorite baseball player of all time is Cal Ripken, and I have a Cal Ripken jersey. I wear it when I go to any Orioles game. That was our, before the Nationals, that was DC's baseball team. And Peter Angelos was just such a jerk in blocking us getting the team for years. I think karma is bitten that team in the butt. He made it so tough for us, and then he got all that TV revenue to allow us to have a team, and they haven't won since. And that, it's still special to go to Camden Yards. It was the first of these new stadiums. They had that retro look. That stadium's over 20 years old now, and I love it
better than. Let me ask you. I like Camden Yards better than the Nationals Park. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. I do too. I'll tell you that we could have a whole show on this. My wife and I, we've gone, all over the U.S. and we do it in the summer. We try to go to Major League Baseball games. But I love Pittsburgh. I mean, the Pirates Stadium, you park across the street, across the river, and you walk across the bridge. Like, it's a lot of really nice stadiums. Now, the Nationals is new. It's our stadium. They went with a more modern look.
A lot of concrete.
Yeah, a lot of concrete, but you know what happens with those looks? Those are the ones that look old the quickest. If you already go retro looking, like you go like Camden Yards, you can never look old because that's your look you're going for.
Yeah, Philadelphia, I think, did a good job. And the Mets did a good job. The Yankees did a good job. So let's get to who we left out, and let's close this out.
Well, let's do this. What are some of the worst sports towns?
Well, that's not hard. The worst sports towns.
Okay. Can I say another one that's a good town, but they only have one sport?
Make up your mind.
Green Bay. I'm just gonna say Green Bay only has
good sports town.
I'm saying it's a good sports town, but it's so would we combine them with Milwaukee to make one town? Because
it's a great sports state. So Green Bay, probably be a Milwaukee. It's not far. So that's a good point. So let's talk about, we're going to get ourselves in trouble. The worst sports town. You know who we didn't, neither of us mention? And it is a city that has exploded in growth. And here you go. It is the college football capital of the United States. You know what I'm talking about. Arrested Development, Andre 3000, Big Boy,
Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta.
Atlanta is a lame, outside of college football, it's a lame sports town.
Yeah.
The Hawks, the Falcons, the Flames, they just,
it's all not great. When they had their most love, and look, they had Braves had a 15-year run of being great. And they were there they supported the Braves. America supported the Braves because they were on TBS. But yeah, I would say that you're right. Atlanta's one of the worst. I'll tell you another one that I think is probably one of the worst. They pride themselves in having a passion for their football team, but Cleveland stinks, man. Those fans, the way they treated LeBron James and the Indians, they've had some success over the years, but yeah, Cleveland. Just who wants to live in Cleveland?
I dare to disagree. I think Cleveland's a good sports town. Man, they love the Browns. If you ever meet anybody from Northeast Ohio, that's the largest metro area. They love the Browns. Cavaliers, LeBron gave them hope. Remember when they had Craig Elo? The Indians had a lot of success. They don't have a hockey team. Let me think here for a second. If we get down to major league level, I think Charlotte's respectable.
Oh, no, that's one of the worst. Look, I wanted to be on the list.
Respectable. They're going to get a major league team if major league. Here's another one that I just thought about. That Tampa. What do you think? Tampa Bay Lightning?
Great. You know what? Look, no, hold on. Tampa Bay, the Lightning and the Bucks. Like in 1 year, one COVID year, they have elevated themselves to definitely an honorable mention as a city, a sports city, and they've won 2 Super Bowls. Okay.
Does Orlando just have the magic?
Yeah, but you kind of throw them in with Tampa. It's not far. It's 45 minutes away, I think. So here's a bad sports town, even though the team loves their football team and they love their best hockey team, but it's just too cold. Buffalo. Yeah.
You say it's a bad sports town?
Yeah, because it's cold. Who wants to go to those games?
Man, they support the Sabres and the
They
Bills.
do. They do. Yes, they do. And they're out there in December with no shirts on. That's crazy.
Buffalo, what is it? The Bison in AAA. They got some good athletes in that area too, by the way.
Yeah, I've been to a Buffalo Bison baseball game when I was there. Again, my wife and I, we go to major and minor league cities and watch baseball in the summer. The Cincinnati, that's not the Bengals, the Reds haven't done anything. Marge Schott, the Big Red Machine was great in the 70s, but other than that, who wants to go to Cincinnati? And the teams haven't done anything.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then you like Kansas City. That's one I didn't mention that's very underrated. St. Louis, the Cardinals in the Midwest, that's one we didn't mention. The Cardinals are huge in the Midwest. So, all right, let's close it out. So your number one was Pittsburgh, and my number one was Philadelphia. So I think
what can we deduct from that? What's the best sports state?
That's exactly what I was going to say. You talk about Penn State, University of Pittsburgh, Temple.
Villanova won a bunch of basketball national championships.
Yep.
You've got the Penguins and the Flyers. You've got the Phillies, and you have the Pirates. You've got the Sixers and their passion for basketball. You've got Eagles when they're on it, the people love it. You're talking that football tradition. The high school football in Pennsylvania is right there with any other state, with Florida, with Texas. Now they're not putting out as many athletes, but the passion for football in that state is right there with anybody else.
Well, think about this. Joe Theismann, Johnny Unitas, Dan Marino, not Joe Theismann, Joe Montana.
Joe Namath, too.
Joe Willie Namath.
Dan Marino. Dan Marino.
Darrell Revis, LeVar Arrington.
Tony
Dorsett. There's guys from the Philly area. Marvin Harrison. Some great football players. Harrisburg.
Mike Ditka. You could just name Aliquippa athletes.
Yeah, really good. And like I said, it's underrated for basketball. So, all right, let's finish this out.
Sean Miller's from Pennsylvania and played a great basketball player at Pitt.
Oh, yeah. And
remember those Pitt basketball teams back in the 80s and 90s? Charles Smith.
Broke the backboard.
Jerome Lane, yeah. Yep.
Oh, so what's my worst mistake, my man? What am I crazy about?
New York.
New York?
New York. I actually looked at one of the things I looked up was one of the like honorable mention worst cities was New York. And I didn't even know, I just looked at this list. And they're like, right, they got 27 baseball championships with the Yankees, but otherwise, I mean, I know the Giants have won, but yeah, it's not fit. They got, oh, let me just say this. To have so many people and so many teams, they are not very successful. When you on a probably per capita average, I don't know. People are probably, especially the New York fans, are probably going, "Hey, you're stupid, you're crazy, Rusty. You don't know anything. Kirk and Byrd, I'm going to turn them off. Never going to listen to those guys. You know, I'm going to go eat a slice of pizza."
If they eat a slice of pizza, I hope it's from Anna's Pizza on Pembroke Avenue in Buck Row. But I will say this: I don't think Houston is much of a sports city, so I gotta dish you on that. You know,
you might be right. You might be right. I just look at they. Yeah, you're probably right. I probably reached with the Houston.
Let's close with this because we've been on for a while. I told you we'd talk about this. Will Hampton Roads ever get a major league team?
Bruh, let me just say, we
can't be football.
Well, football. Why not?
Because there's a lot of people. It's got to be basketball or hockey. It's got to be basketball or hockey.
I understand what you're saying, but let me tell you why it shouldn't be those. Okay, we're one of the top metro areas. Hampton Roads is a top 10 metro area. And let me just say, we're also
top 10 for what?
Population.
No.
No, I'm sorry, not population.
It's the 27th ranked TV market, by the way.
Okay, but let me just say this. No, population, I'm sorry, let me say it this way. We are higher than a number of major league towns.
We're the biggest metro area to
that's where I was going with. So we're bigger than San Antonio. We're bigger than Green Bay. We're bigger than I think even Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken. There are a lot of markets, and let me just say why I think football would have the best chance. First off,
no.
Let me just say why. We only have to fill that stadium 8 times a year or 9.
No. It's not about fans buying. There's no corporations down there. It's all about the corporate money. It's too much U.S. government, Navy, Air Force. I think basketball or hockey. I'm going to say basketball because it's a basketball crazed area. You have less suites. Those suites, you know how much those suites cost. You think about the corporate dollar down there. You've got Huntington Ingalls at the shipyard. They're going to have one. The United States Navy cannot buy a suite down there. Now you're going to have some of your big systems integrators like Northrop Grumman, et cetera, that make so much money on those the military down there. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to selling luxury suites, you need local corporate money. It's not the fan base. We all know that the big high-end money, and that's where, maybe you get some of the Richmond corporations like Altria, the former Philip Morris. You've got some other big corporations in Richmond, but that is the one big thing is that the corporate money that goes.
So why don't we do it this way, Kirk? Why don't we do it this way? What would you name the team in that area? And let me say this: Hampton Roads is the actually official name of those 7 cities down there. But what if you go with it and you market it this way? You call it the Virginia, whatever, the Virginia Phantom. Because you know why? Once you say Virginia, now you're pulling in Richmond. Now
it's like Minnesota.
Yeah, Carolina Panthers. Because you know why they did that? Because they're right by South Carolina. And if we go Virginia, can we pull the West Virginia folks too? And guess what? The Northern Virginia fans are so fickle. I mean, because they're transient. Like and in fact, I know we're fickle because we refer to ourselves as Northern Virginia. I hated it when I was in college and you say where somebody was from, they say Northern Virginia. I was like, Northern Virginia, like, bro, you're just from Virginia. Because we didn't say, I'm from Southeastern Virginia. You know where I was from? I was from Hampton, and I was proud of my town. Nobody said, I'm from Byrd.
I'm from Vienna.
I'm from Vienna. I'm from Sterling. You know, the only place up here, the only place I ever heard people take true pride in where they were from is people from Alexandria. People from Alexandria didn't always say, I'm from Northern Virginia. They were from Alexandria. And I think that comes from the pride of having one high school in that city, one public high school. And to me, it was like, I'm from Alexandria. Everybody else, I'm from Northern Virginia. When people asked me where I was from Hampton, bro. I didn't expand to the 757. I didn't say Hampton Roads. I was from Hampton because of the pride I had in being a football crazed town, from the great traditions we had. And so what I want to build on, look, we can be the Panthers because even though we're called Virginia, we can pull some of those folks from Northern Carolina, Elizabeth City, maybe some of those East Carolina folks.
That's my turn. I would say you call the team the Neptunes. So call the team the Neptunes.
The Virginia Neptunes?
Yeah, the Virginia Neptunes, because they're all.
Yeah, we've had, you know what I think? Arch rival, but it really, you don't hear this at any professional level. I don't even know if it's on a collegiate. The Virginia Crabbers. Like, bruh, crabbing is huge there, and it's a unique thing.
Yeah. How marketable is that worldwide, though? Because you want people buying your stuff in China and India. So where would so I'm not going to go with football. It's got to be a smaller arena. So hockey.
But you're trying to fill it 40 times per year. Football only got to do it 9 times.
They can do that. 19,000 fans. They can do that. Football's what, 60, 70? But it's not about fans in the seats. It's about the corporate dollars. You got less suites.
Yeah, you're right.
Hockey or basketball. Where would they build it?
Look, let me just say this also. One of the things where would they build it? Chesapeake has so much land, bro. Chesapeake is too far. So are you trying to make it an urban, like in the city, like Norfolk?
Norfolk is awesome. You got highways. You're going to have the third tunnel from Newport News going into downtown Norfolk. Virginia Beach.
Too much traffic in there. You're talking about traffic coming from Suffolk, Portsmouth, 64. But you got to put it in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake.
No. If you put it in Virginia Beach, you got the old 44, which is 264. Remember the 10-cent toll?
Yeah.
It's one juggernaut in the Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach traffic is horrible. That Virginia Beach Town Center at Independence and 264 is logistically a nightmare. They've got too many people there. I think you put it in Norfolk. You got light rail from Virginia Beach to downtown Norfolk, and Norfolk.
But that's because you're thinking of a basketball arena, bro. I want a football stadium, and that's why I said Chesapeake.
I don't think football.
Yeah, basketball, put that downtown. Absolutely. Tear down the scope, put a basketball team right there. I'm feeling you if we're putting basketball in that town. Tear down that scope and build us a monster, great home. And just build. Look, I could see a basketball arena and a professional NBA team doing for downtown Norfolk what they've done, what it did for Charlotte. Downtown
or DC,
right? Yeah.
But Norfolk is thriving. Norfolk is a great downtown, and I will tell you, if you got to look at the NHL and you got to look at the NBA expanding, the NBA will expand because it's a global game.
And we had the Virginia Squires. We had Dr. J. playing, and the way the scope, Virginia Squires, that's along the lines of how I did the.
They switched. They played in Richmond also.
Yeah, I know they played in 3 arenas. They played in Norfolk. They played in Norfolk. They played in Hampton, and they played in Richmond. And that was a great. That's how we got these arenas, and it was a great way to keep fans from those different areas engaged. But now you just got to go with one 20,000-seat arena that looks awesome and amazing. Again, I'm going with football It's still a football crazy town. The blue collar guy can buy a football ticket. He cannot buy a basketball ticket. And I know you want your corporations to do it, but let me tell you, we can get your corporations in Virginia. You know what? Your Loudoun County and all that money and all that technology, those people are still in Virginia. That's what I'm saying. You can still you can get Fredericksburg, you can get Stafford, you can get
Hamilton, you could
Prince William County, Loudoun County. They don't have to be Redskins. If once you call it Virginia, you may be able to get some Northern Virginia dollars,
and Richmond.
And Richmond. Yeah, Richmond is booming, bro. They really.
Hampton Roads, when it comes to private business, does not have much.
You're right. But you know what? We can with that area. If we can get some of this Northern Virginia money and we get that Rona pool with just some of a fan base that can drive, 3 or 4 hours once every other week, I think we'd be okay. Hey, tell us what you think about our plan for a Virginia team. Hit us up on Twitter. Tell Kirk he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's football in the 757. Tell Kirk that Rusty is the best. Hudson Hawk, Bruins, all of you Bruins, just put him in his place, especially after what they did to us on Friday.
49-0. And let's just point out again.
How many basketball state championships y'all got? That's right.
0.
Yeah. How many track state championships? Well,
we've won track.
Do you? Yeah. Well, how many?
I don't know.
Maybe your girls at that. It wasn't your boys.
How many football?
Do you guys even have a baseball program? No joke. Like, do you even have a baseball team?
Does Bethel have one?
Yeah, and we went to the state finals 20 years ago.
All right. Yeah. So anyway, please follow us on Facebook, and Twitter. The Kirk and Byrd, Byrd, the Kirk and Byrd. We didn't put show on it. And listen to our podcast. Tell us what you think. Put stuff on the Twitter. Tell us what you want us to talk about. If we get something wrong, pick on us. Tell us we got this wrong. I said Dwayne Brown from Virginia Tech was protecting Tyrod Taylor's blindside a couple of episodes ago. Guess what? Dwayne Brown's in Seattle. So, those things happen. But, it was fun talking about this. It went on. But great conversation. We got a lot of local stuff in there, which is good for Hampton Roads. And you did have a very interesting top 9 or 10 in Major League sports. So I will tell you that.
Yeah, and it's a living, breathing document of my opinion, because it can change. It's not set in stone, and let's see what we get. Let's broach this topic a year from now when we've got over 1 million followers.
All right. Well,
Kirk and Byrd.
Kirk and Byrd out.
Kirk and Byrd.